And the reason why Wlfy was able to succeed was on the back of Callus' plays. The
Yes, he was right there for him.
shields were phenomenal, being able to save his hyper carry. And speaking of Callus, the tower siege, the tier 1 solo lane tower siege, where he blinks in, gets the 3-man
set the
ultimate.
whole thing up, yeah.
Off of that, like Deathwalker makes a highlight, the Eagles rally, the deicide happens, Fire Giant, RivaL just clean it up from there.
It really was that whole thing. There was an 18-minute fight at the Gold Fury. They win that one off Deathwalker's presence. They go over to the Fire Giant. Then they take the fight. They win the fight. Then they get Fire Giant. It kind of felt like the whole thing got away from them, kind of just off that one play. And RivaL, they're one of those teams that when they get rolling, man, it's so hard to try and stop them. But that is the task that we pose to mousesports here. How do you stop this RivaL team in game number 2 in picks and bans? Mousesports will be first selection. Maybe that'll do it.
Well, they had a good defense, I would say, under their tier 2 solo tower, despite having the Fire Giant. I think a little bit later down the road, iceicebaby got a little bit too ahead of himself, and that's where RivaL made that stand at the tier 2 tower. They did lose their tower, but they got 2 kills afterwards.
Right.
They couldn't go for the Fire Giant afterwards. They were just a little less healthy.
Yeah, they just couldn't quite chase him down. There were a couple times where I think that or not SK, but Mouse wasn't quite sure what to do with their lead. There was that time where they won the fight, they went to the Fire Giant, they backed, they came back to it again. I think it was a 5v4 in their advantage. They couldn't win that fight either. It just kind of kept slipping away from them.
And with this game number 2, they should be able to make these adjustments. I think they had a right idea in terms of ganking that duo lane. That's where Cherryo made his presence first known in that game, getting the first blood, but unfortunately making the counter rotation. He fell shortly after. So despite getting that first blood bounty, when you don't really have time to play around with it, that hurts your jungler's momentum.
Baron Samedi going to be the first to pick selection, and Raijin coming in for RivaL. Very much a Wlfy special. I would not be surprised to see him pick that one up. That does still mean, yep, the likes of Erlang, Shen are available. iceicebaby happy to have it. The mid-jungle combo already locked in.
I really thought it was going to be Deathwalker playing the Erlang Shen in the last game, but he's so comfortable with the Bologna, and I think that iceicebaby would prefer more engages with the potential blink, turtle knockup, the taunt to be able to be more resilient to the point where you want that presence from your jungle as opposed to Bologna. Now, if it was actually BigManTingz on the Freya instead, maybe Bologna would be more effective simply for the Scourge factor.
That might be enough to get it done. We'll see where they go as Apollo comes in along with the Chaac. This is interesting. I do think Apollo is getting a little bit underplayed right now. Probably can get some more out of him. But this Chaac pick, I've never been a huge fan of it. Talk to me a little bit about what they're trying to do here.
It's so early also to pick
It
the
is
Chaac.
early, isn't it?
I think it's slows on slows. Baron's going to be able to provide that single target root and then try to lock people down. Chaac can easily create that slowing glue minefield.
So annoying.
Throw the axe, pop the healing rain. But against Raijin, Erlang, Shen, a 3-second silence will disrupt a lot of damage from the Raijin.
That's a good point. That silence could be a problem. And Chaac can be a nice pick maybe if you think that you might lose lane otherwise, right? Because Chaac very often can just clear safely with the axe. He has the sustain right there in his kit, so it's kind of like a free ticket through that early game. The problem is, what are you buying that ticket for? Chaac's just not that relevant, I feel like, late, aside from the ultimate.
It's going to be a battle between the Berserker Shield versus the Gladiator Shield, depending on what Deathwalker goes. But I think that when you're looking for poke in the laning phase, you can easily do it with Chaac. You can clear the wave and hit the opposition at the same time.
It's pretty nice having that axe as the Anhur comes through from RivaL. Gonna pair that with the Fenrir they already grabbed for that last ban selection. But before we go into that Anhur, take a look at what Vote has earned for his squad. Cupid gets banned in that second ban phase off of his performance.
Well, the cripple is annoying, like we mentioned before. The slow itself, before even popping into the Mesmerize, forces either the beads or the early ultimate out of the ROM, which is what favored Vote in the laning matchup.
2 stance switchers come in from Mouse on the back end, so maybe a bit of an ultimate disparity for them, but they'll be able to make up for that with some nice early pressure. At least that'll be the plan. As likely here, we're going to be seeing that Artio in the support now with the Chaac there, which means we're seeing the Baron mid. I talked a little bit about this with Ryan earlier. He doesn't quite like having it there, but maybe they can get the most out of it here for Tinks.
I'm not sure if it's going to be Baron mid, considering there's Apollo and Ullr locked in. So probably going to see Ullr for BigManTingz, Apollo out of Spudio, trying to get that global pressure. What if we see Baron jungle?
Baron jungle. Okay, maybe. I mean, life of the party probably would be annoying out of the jungle as a gank tool, right? Is that enough for you all? Where do you think all this mouse stuff's going to go, and who do you think's going to win? Go ahead and let us know in the Mixer poll on your thoughts. I have less questions about this Osiris, though. That feels to me like something Deathwalker's going to be playing.
Deathwalker's going to hold W and hold down left click
yes.
and make Nika's life more miserable than it should be.
Yeah, and this is especially potent into this double Hunter composition, as you pointed out, where they're very likely are going to be having a Hunter mid. Osiris, I feel like, really going to cause some problems for that.
Deathwalker had a pretty good performance the last game. We'll see if he could do it again.
I expect there to be plenty of shields of the Berserker variety out there. We'll end up seeing once they get into the action. Let's get it back over to Tom and Hindu for the cast.
Thanks so much, Vincentolo. Yes, into game we go.
Chaac mid! Chaac mid! Oh, it's Chaac money mid, baby! Chaac mid! I've been talking, I've been saying, I've been dreaming, I've been doing. It's Chaac money mid! BigManTingz, the best player in the world!
Do you want to cast this solo? Because if you've not noticed, it's Dardez Ullr support.
Chaac money mid, though!
And Artio jungle. I'm not so sure on this comp. You're really so good, Chaac mid. I'm not. I'm like, this is an absolute mess of a composition.
So, Dardez...
No.
No.
I'm knowing that. I guess it's to throw RivaL for a loop, thinking it's double Hunter. When I saw Cherryo, when I saw the Artio looked, I'm like, why not Fafnir there?
No.
Well, watch Deathwalker. Because watch Deathwalker go. See Deathwalker. See Deathwalker now. See the blink. See the beads. Where's your level 1, Dardez? Where's your sustain?
But that has nothing to do
How'd the shell work out for you? Oh no, you've got beads because you're all support.
Not concerned. So that has less. No, I mean I'm very concerned. But that is not a reason. Hey, they got more fans. That's not a reason.
Yeah, but they don't after they saw the pics.
So Dardez isn't playing Ullr support. This is a double Hunter lane.
I mean, yeah, he's not a support.
Dardez is not building support. And if he does, he's doing it wrong.
Does Ullr have?
Excuse me?
How many CCs does Ullr have?
Just the axe. He's not, but his job here is not to play support.
Feed?
No, his job is to be a double carry lane.
Okay.
This is a kill lane, right? And that's sort of to match the Fenrir situation. Fenrir is going to be playing tanky, and he's going to be playing defensive, but this is very much a kill situation for Fenrir. Two hunters in the same lane could shut it down. Now, I like that. If that means we have a full tank Artio and a full tank Baron, but Cherryo started with the Assassin's Blessing. But we'll see where Cherryo's build goes. Yeah. And if Cherryo is a full tank, I hate it less, but it's still a different world. But, Chaac mid, baby.
Yeah, Chaac mid. Really excited about that one. We'll see how it works out. What we will do is watch Deathwalker with the first blood he got, get Berserker Shield straight away, and Nika's going to have fun in that lane of being whittled away out, poke, 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 poke. Aggro just walked by and gave me a sign that says, all support sucks. Like we didn't realize that.
Well, like I said, it's
You should tweet that picture, by the way, live now.
I'm going to take a picture of it. Like I said, it's not really... come on.
It's not support. You're right. It's not support.
It's not a support pick.
Double Hunter, where you're not going to get enough farm for either of them because they're both being zoned off experience already. Dardez is level 1 at 2.5 minutes in.
That is, and really this is what I was getting at when I was talking about beforehand. That has nothing to do with, Dardez could have picked Gip. Dardez could have been any support, and Deathwalker showing up behind means they get first blood.
Dependent on relic situation and stuff like that too. You're going Ullr, he has to get beads because he's dealing with Anhur Fenrir duo. If he was
even if he gets a shell.
Sprint could have been better.
Would
I'm just making the debate. And that first blood, maybe not the be-all and end-all of it, but I can tell you now, I don't think RivaL's really worried after how this game started.
I think Dardez is dead no matter what. If he's level 1, he's dead. I don't care if he's Agni or Zhonghui.
But here's the difference.
You like that, A to Z?
You die. Yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks.
But the difference is that in a normal support, you'll still be able to recover. How will Ullr do as this game continues? What's Ullr going to bring to the late game composition other than raw damage?
This is a mid-game comp. BigManTingz, Spudio, Dardez, all three of these characters destroy with 3 items, right? And so, wow, Spudio gets jumped on real quick. The idea here is to get those 3 items and then just stop the opposition.
Well, Cherryo's going to come gang duo lane, but the bad news is right behind him, iceicebaby's giving chase too. Cherryo's going to look for the route on Boat, who leaps in towards Dardez, who has the beads again. Brutalize destroys him and Pin finishes him off. Another death for the dual lane of mousesports as Spudio and Cherryo just trying to survive. BigManTingz, though, here comes the Chaac money mid.
Let's see what he does right here. Tosses the axe, good damage, and the ultimate cuts down one. Looking for the second. The Dubayun for Chaac money mid.
Please make sure we clip that video of him just doing what he did for Esports Weekly. Thank you very much. That's perfect.
I was outside the camera frame.
And granted, Chaac mid does have some benefits. And I'm never against the Chaac mid in the grand scheme of things just because I don't want to have to listen to you talk about all the benefits it's got.
Chaac money mid, baby.
It can work. It can be useful. The early game is strong to be powerful. Keep Wlfy slightly pinned back a little bit more. On a Raijin, he's generally got pretty good clear, but you got to avoid those axes.
BigManTingz, realistically speaking, Chaac mid is probably not as strong as some of the traditional mage options. Really, realistically, Chaac mid made it happen when you had access to like red potions, etc. There's a much bigger conversation there. But what does he bring is Chaac's going to be bringing this, like I said, this mid game dominance, early game pressure as well. Fantastic buff secure with the axe. You really can't mess with him on these left or right side harpies, and God forbid he decides to invade. And of course, the anti-attack speed, which is going to really impact Deathwalker, iceicebaby, and Vote.
It's still Chaac.
Absolutely.
I'll always say that, like,
But
it's still
But
Chaac.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. The problem with Chaac is that he doesn't do much from a solo lane perspective. He's tanky and he doesn't die, but he doesn't have any traditional crowd control. Well, when you put him in the way he works best in the solo lane is 1 to 2 offensive items and then defense because he has to deal damage. But if you're in the solo lane, you're expected to be a tank.
Sure.
In the middle lane, you are not expected to be a tank, so
You're right.
you can be all aggressive.
But problem comes when I'm looking at this composition of Cherryo's playing Artio. You're going to want him to be defensive, is what you were saying. But that's some of the magical damage taken away. It was a Guardian anyway. Then you look at Nika, who's in the solo lane. Well, he's going to have to go damage now, which is something that you don't necessarily expect from a solo Baron. He's generally more tanky, survival, spam abilities, CC chains. It makes it very awkward, Tom, when I'm looking at the magical damage where RivaL don't have to worry about magical damage as this game continues.
That's absolutely true. A big part of the reason why I don't like the Artio jungle, I don't like the Artio jungle in general. Is there a specific reason why you need to invest in the cripple? Sure, Collis, Vote, even Wlfy, iceicebaby, all of them kind of get smoked out by a cripple. I respect it. I understand it. I would have rather see a more, just a different Guardian of choice. The cripple is why we see the Artio here instead of the Ymir or the Athena that he does like to play. Athena was first banned, if I'm not mistaken. So there are reasons why this Artio is selected. I just don't like it because she doesn't do the damage that you need her to do, and you're not afraid of the magical.
Spudio going to dash away from Callis there momentarily. 2 transcendents is being worked on for mousesports.
Maybe a soul?
1 for mid lane and 1 for support or secondary carry, I guess we put it in here.
Yeah, so I'm really trying to... So this mousesports draft, I mentioned before in a broadcast, I believe last week, that I said the laning phase these days is 10 to 11 minutes.
Sure.
And then after that, I don't care what's going on. You just have 5 players. So put weird stuff in the jungle and tread water. And then, well, at 12 minutes, you have a Erlang Shen, doesn't care if he's jungle or solo or whatever, right? So with that mentality, think amorphously. And you look at this mousesports draft, you've got 3 carries and 2 defensive, 2 frontline. And that's standard. They're just in different places.
Sure, but the problem is when I look at this, Tom, I'm always sat here going, well, there's only so much farm on the map. There's a finite amount of farm on the map at any given time, and someone has to get behind on a team to allow the rest of the team to be as strong as they could be. BigManTingz beads early to avoid the Ragnarok. Good little play from him there. Defensively used. But yeah, like, where's the farm going to come from? Someone's going to be behind. Do you want it to be the jungle Cherryo, or would you rather be the Ullr?
Well, it's going to be Nika.
But then a point, if it's going to be Ullr that's behind, then he's not going to do the damage you want him to. Hasn't Ullr.
Well, yeah, and you can see like Nika's here, Guardian, blah blah blah. Like there's
a reason for the roles though. I mean, Guardians can still function behind in terms of experience.
I think the reason, well, here's trouble for iceicebaby. He's going to be stuck between 2 different players. Wlfy shows up as well. BigManTingz uses the silence and that'll cut down any more anticipation. Cherryo, turn around, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think they went to continue the chase. Cherryo was actually trying to bait in a little bit longer there, but he had reinforcements coming in. First, I was like, Cherryo's a bit deep.
Yeah.
But then I saw Nika was rotating, as was Dardez, to make this commitment. The problem being, though, is given so much free farm there to Deathwalker that tower is now below half health.
Look at the itemization coming out from Cherryo. First item, Lotus Crown. This character is not meant to do damage. There is no threat from Cherryo whatsoever. He is a defensive player. And so you were talking about who's going to be behind, and that's a conversation. But Ullr, the supports these days with one of the changes to the experience that we've done, you're trailing by a level or two. Look at the duo lanes, 7 and 8. An Ullr level 7 with your carry level 8, I'm fine.
Here's the issue, though. I'm going to keep giving you knockbacks on this because Ullr is a mid-game god, as you said. This is about the mid-game. Well, he's not going to be in a mid-game position by the mid-game. He's going to be further behind, more than likely, in the support role. So when he does get to that mid-game spot, it's already in the late game, which means Ullr is useless in the support role.
And I think it's important for us to, like, take that support mentality out of it, because he's not support. Cherryo is your support. He's just not in the lane. And, I mean, in all honesty, Dardez is rotating like a secondary jungle. That's really what we're seeing. Spudio's a hard carry in the long lane. Dardez is a jungler. Cherryo is a secondary jungler. BigManTingz is your mid lane damage dealer. And Nika is a true support.
Well, the first 10 minutes are already down. It's 2-2 on the standings. 500 gold lead for RivaL. Realistically, all that comes from the first blood. Experience is marginally ahead for RivaL, but not by a lot.
I think this makes a lot more sense to people at home if Nika and Dardez switch positions.
Yes.
But they haven't. And to be honest with you, I think the reasoning is mousesports intended in this early game and mid game to have two hunters in the long lane, push out, get mad pressure, use the pressure that BigManTingz has in the mid lane from the mid lane Chaac, and just invade on purple and red. Problem is, RivaL haven't given them that opportunity, Mouse haven't taken that opportunity, and or a combination of both. So the entire mentality of mousesports here, which is pressure in the mid, pressure in the left, is not coming to fruition, and that's when we have to worry about what you're talking about, which is that mid-game situation where y'all aren't going to be actually in the mid-game in the mid-game.
Well, mousesports, I mean, they've had our focus because of their picks, but Callis is playing a Fenrir, which we've not seen him do too often either. He's generally been one that will always stick to the Guardians, but now pulling out the Fenrir, which, to be honest, with what he can bring, plenty of CC.
Cherryo going to be surrounded and pounded and soon to be grounded. Wlfy gets number 3 for Team RivaL. Big man ultimate coming out from BigManTingz. But where's the rest of the squad? Nobody's there. Apollo 10 minutes too late. That was a fantastic initiation. And the guys from mousesports just weren't there.
Vote keeping too busy, which means Nika's left on his own. Yes, he used the life of the party, but the party's already over. Although I should say it's moved direction to the Pyromancer now, as RivaL look to get their first objective of the game uncontested now.
Now that's the first time I'm really upset with Mouse in general, right? You give us, as commentators and analysts, you give us this draft, and I am perplexed, but not upset. Right? I understand why you're doing it. I get it. That last team fight, you could have had a traditional team composition and still lost because the decision-making from mousesports, the lack of rotation was objectively the wrong call. That was a wonderful 4-man ultimate by BigManTingz. Everybody at 40% HP or less, and all you have to do is walk up, shoot a bladed arrow through them. So beautiful them. And a couple of basics. And that is a team wipe into a potential Gold Fury. But mousesports just don't show up. They were across the map. I understand. Spudio could have ulted much earlier. There are a lot of things that went wrong in that team fight that have nothing to do with composition. And if you're a fan of mousesports, don't get upset about this composition. Get upset about that gameplay or lack thereof.
If you're a fan of Mouse, you expect the unconventional or, well, the crazy, the lunatic asylum. It's kind of how I'm looking at it now. Obviously, they've got some strengths to the strategy. They've clearly practiced it in scrims. We'll see how it continues to work it out. Granted, RivaL aren't that far ahead just now. When we get to the team fight stage, we'll see if Mouse can bring something to it. But at the moment, RivaL haven't really allowed them to get in their team fight yet.
Like I said, also there's fantastic objective secure coming out from mousesports. 2 hunters and a Chaac. That Gold Fury is super dead.
It's quick dying, but I wouldn't call it secure. I think RivaL
Chaac
has
brings
better.
it secure.
He's got a little bit. Wlfy's, I think, is easier.
Chaac has much better secure than the...
Fire the taiko drums and taunt everybody or fear them. Like, you're burning beads and you can secure at the same time. Like, that's the best thing I can see here. If anything else, I think that's what I say. I agree with Tingz.
Yeah, so what happens is Dardez and Spudio sit at the 6 o'clock position, and BigManTingz sits at the 3 o'clock position, right where he is now. And then when the taiko drums come through, BigManTingz backs up, and then
throws
Axe ult. And it's just done, son.
Gold Fury started by 2. It was Dardez alongside BigMan, so they didn't have the real damage there just yet, as Spudio now joins the fray. Catalyst happy just to sit here and stare at the axe. It's the same color as his skin, and juke out the axe that follows up the axe that was already on the ground.
Dardez gonna miss that one. Here comes Kalis looking for the ultimate. He gets ulted himself, the pull, and Nika on top. Kalis on bottom, kill number 4 for mousesports.
Cost him 2 ultimates, though, to bring down the support, but Wlfy took a lot more damage than bargained for. He has to jump away, Spudio to the sky, and he's going to go in. Remember, he's going to knock up now.
And he's going to find Wlfy. There's the knockup. The Mez to wait for the rest of the team. Nika with the second kill this contest. Good impale coming out onto Nika. Vote trying to run away. iceicebaby cutting down Spudio. And Cherryo dancing with Vote and DW up north.
Peel was a little bit late from Mouse, though, which meant that Spudio goes down. iceicebaby did re-sustain back up. Vote and Deathwalker still hanging around. Vote has his blink, hasn't got his second relic online just yet. But this fight was all a dance around the Gold Fury that Mouse began. And at the end of the day, it ended up being 1-for-1.
Tier 1 tower is going to be the target for mousesports. I like this play. Dardez and Nika are here. BigManTingz available. His ult will be up in about 7 seconds or less, so he's going to be totally fine. Kalis here playing D, and the Hunter Shot's not able to take down the tower.
No, I mean, if you look at it, it is Chaac, and Dardez is the support version here, so he's not going to have the same amount of farm. I'm going to keep mentioning, although his carries at exactly the same level in that lane.
Exactly, and that speaks more to how Dardez is playing this, which I think, again, is it's more accurate for us to call him a jungler. Cherryo is a secondary jungler, despite what the roster card says.
Oracles are available for RivaL to look at, and they're both continuing the dance around here. There is some war coverage around this Gold Fury already, though. 1 for Mouse, and I believe 1 for RivaL. But the Oracles go the way of RivaL now, so a bit more security for another minute or 2.
Mousesports, this is when they come into themselves and are looking to be aggressive. Their composition excels at this point in time, and this is what they've got to be looking for. Problem is, across the way, Team RivaL did a very good job in picks and bans to sort of mirror the mid-game monstrosity that Mousesports did craft up here, with Wlfy being the lone true late-game superstar. iceicebaby, if he goes into chin size, sure, but Wlfy is going to be the only late-game character here.
This Gold Fury is getting very low, and Kalis going to go in on Dardez and bring him all the way back to a Desert Fury from Boat. There goes one carry from mousesports as the next one gets impaled into a wall and has to beads and dash away. Cherryo jumps around the corner to help out, but he's only a tank.
He's going to find a stun, and that's it. This is not where he needs to be. RivaL get the Gold Fury. They're going to look for the team fight after the fact. That's a big ultimate. Nika's going to capitalize off of the mid lane shock. BigManTingz picks up one as well, but it's still not going in mousesports' direction.
2 on 3, but the third man to join the fray is Spudio. Big knock-up shots down Wlfy and gives BigMan the double kill. Chaac now going to give chase, but a quick pin will slow them down, and Spudio can't dash to get the Mez off in time. Erlang and Osiris will live for now, but Tingz still trying to get in there.
Blinks forward and finds DW and the Arlong Shen. Arlong Shen has to get on out of here. Deathwalker walks out of the slow. One more axe, it'll be dodged to the left. BigManTingz gonna tank up the tower. Not as tanky as you might want the Chaac to be, though, so he's got to watch his HP. Big torrent to help boost him up, but his team's got to help him.
iceicebaby might be able to get one as Nika does bring down Deathwalker, but Iceice is getting low. No ultimate available as a double kill comes through for Nika. Mousesports win the fight, but look how long that fight took. The respawns have come through. Dardez managed to push a tower, and now looks at a speed buff. Mousesports behind on gold, but map position is in their favor.
Ultimate just wasted by Vote. I use that word very intentionally. That was a poor Desert Fury coming out from the Honor player. Very, very odd. Looked like it's just a panic. Oh no, he's there. I got ult.
This comp is like working, and it's not because of anything other than the Chaac. I'm not joking. Like,
Absolutely.
BigManTingz is dropping big old elbows in these fights that are hitting 3 or 4, and people are not prepared for the damage from RivaL as they all clump up to try and kill the carries.
BigManTingz and Nika are hard carrying this match. BMT is silencing players right before Nika's ultimate. That's the interaction that we're finding here from the mid lane and the solo laner, and that's really what's paying dividends.
And I do want to point out, like, you excited about the Chaac. I'm down with the Chaac. There's nothing wrong with the Chaac in this game. Like, it's the rest of the comp where you're like, okay, this is a bit skew win.
Well, like I said, it's a different look at what we're expecting from this world. I mean,
Sure.
Dardez, like, you just zoom out and you say, what do you need for a composition? You need a hunter, a guardian, an assassin, a warrior, and a mage, right? Theoretically,
Sure.
You've got, let's just say, 2 tanks and 3 backline, and you've got that.
So
you
what I want,
have that.
I want magical damage though, Tom. Where should I find that magical damage?
And that's what I was talking about. I was speaking out loud. I said maybe a soul. I thought that maybe
Sol instead of Spudio could instead of Apollo there for Spudio could be a bit different, and I'm not as upset about this composition overall. Now though, RivaL, even though they lost that last fight and they lost a couple of towers, they're going to barrel down mid and force Cherryo and Tingz to blink in.
There's another good ultimate coming out from BigManTingz. Vote's got to jump away and up in
Spudio!
the sky. Spudio finds the knock up on a Wlfy, but this time a good ultimate from Vote sends them packing. The big vacuum going to be activated, and Herbie Hoover working. iceicebaby cut down to half HP.
But the vacuum runs out. Still though, Nika gets the kill on Ice. Wlfy doesn't have an escape, has to use the Aegis and crippled to death. Tier 2 tower now under threat. Full minion wave here. mousesports, are they breaking the meta?
And this is where
Do supports
Mouse
no
are
longer
waiting.
exist?
No, Cherryo is playing support. This is what they were waiting for. It doesn't matter what happens in the laning phase because now you've got 2 tanks and 3 damage dealers.
Cherryo took bit off more than he could shoot. Great impale from Vote, and now it's a 3-on-4. Phoenix still
Big
alive,
money.
but Spudio is removing Vote from the map. Callus still alive, but the carry's coming through from mousesports now.
BigManTingz on top player damage right now. Chaac money mid, making his money at the moment. Make money. Chaac gonna help mousesports to find the lead so far. 51,000 gold ahead, and it's a 2K lead for Team RivaL.
I'm pleased this is working just for you. Just for you. This is the only reason I want this come to work is because Chaac's in mid and he's having a good game. That was a great fight though overall from Mouse. At first I thought Cherryo and BigManTingz blinking in as early as they did may have been a bit of a mistake and allowed RivaL a window to get back into the action, but not to be the case. The silence alone from Bigman was such an annoyance for RivaL to be able to turn it around. And then Spudio jumping to the back line with his ultimate. Love the play.
Chaac right now building more tanky, and I'm not the hugest fan. His job right now is to deal the damage, and as the game gets later, he's going to become squishier. So you have to build some defense on Chaac. I understand that. The full commit to tank items is a little bit problematic.
Well, he's got
for me.
Transcendence fully stacked. So I'm like, I like that. And Warrior Tabby, and then go, because you're not going to have a sub on this team.
Right.
So get that for your team anyway, because you've not got a traditional support character in Dardez.
You got Cherryo.
Who's going to go damage.
You got Cherryo. Who's
Well,
going to go tank.
But Cherryo's gone for Lotus Crown.
That's true. Yep. He could have went for sub.
He could have.
The Void Shield. Okay, the Void Shield I like. Okay. Hybrid
I think it's gonna have
itemization. Next one is going to be offensive. I have no problem with BigManTingz's build. In fact, I think this is the correct way to go.
Fire Giant is going to be the dance of doom for both these two teams. Obviously, RivaL took game 1 in quick fashion, I will say, at least clean fashion. This game, though, not the case. mousesports have brought out an unconventional composition that is slowly grinding away at RivaL, and they've not had the answer just yet, RivaL. They're on the defensive now, worried about mousesports and trying to play around the blinks from both Cherryo and BigManTingz, yeah.
Yeah, those have been the true thorns in the sides of Team RivaL so far. Nika going to wrap around the backside. Got to be a little bit careful, though. Team RivaL, they have eyes everywhere.
Yeah, and it's a slow that hits Cherryo over and over again. You can just see how much that's causing problems for them. As Callus going to initiate, looking at Cherryo, picks him up, brings him back towards the team. No ultimate used by Wlfy here. It is at the final minutes. Cherryo keeps dashing towards him, and BigManTingz joins the fray too. That silence did affect Wlfy. It's slowing down the damage from RivaL, but Cherryo's still getting low as Deathwalker commits, and Wlfy gets the kill.
Up in the sky, Apollo a little bit too late to that one. He's been an important part of the CC chain.
Didn't go down.
Usually at the late end, but Cherryo stands there. I think Cherryo was a little bit too eager, got involved a little bit too soon. Spudio a little bit too tardy. He showed up a little bit too late. And because of the whole combination of that, just a poor team fight for mousesports. Things going Team RivaL's way.
Love the fact that RivaL don't go straight to a fire giant here either. They've lost that middle Phoenix, remember, off the last engagement with Mouse. So this is about stemming the flow of the bleed that Mouse presented for them. Spudio, though, gonna try and get this goal.
Deathwalker doesn't know.
They're not aware of this at all.
Deathwalker doesn't know.
Nope, he doesn't. He's going to go for a tier 1. I think Spudio's going to be back there to defend, too.
Oh, iceicebaby's here.
At the same time, can he steal it?
Yes.
He might be able to.
He's going to.
He's seen it out!
Oh, so close. iceicebaby just a hair off.
That's classic jungle mentality. See farm, kill farm.
Credit to Spudio for holding on.
That was brave. After the pin, he's like, well,
yep.
could have been a worse situation there. So, mousesports get the goal, Fury.
I like how
extend their lead a little bit more.
Iceice just sort of like, he's looking at it, and he just sort of like flicks his ability over there. He's
He
like,
flicks the ability and goes, nope. Can I
Okay.
get there with Weasel in time? Nope, I can't be a Weasel, so I
He
guess
was
I'm
like,
just going to take the Oracles.
I'll give it a shot. Guys, I came up short.
But now the
Oh,
goal
well.
Fury's down there. All attention once more will turn to the right-hand side of the map. You see pings actually down on that right-hand tier 1 tower. RivaL's pings, just to make sure they defend it.
I'm actually kind of... This is a 2,000 gold game.
Yeah.
iceicebaby should have been much more interested in that Gold Fury than he was.
I agree. I think if they would have got that too,
He looked like he flicked the cigarette in the general direction and
RivaL
walked
would have
away.
been even. Cherryo being pulled in again. This is what Callus has been doing time and time again. Wlfy, though, dissuades both Dardez and Spudio from continuing the aggression there. It was Ragnarok and the Tycho drums consumed by RivaL for nothing on the side of Mouse. Pyro started up.
Cherryo here to play D as well. That's support Cherryo, mind you. He did play support once. Remember? What team was that for? This team, actually.
Yep,
Yes.
same team. Was
Mixed
Elevate,
match.
was a couple of different names as well through the times of gone by, but back in the jungle again. Generally, he's been one of the ones to go towards Guardians. This blink could be suspect, but he gets a good stun on Wlfy that consumes his beads late and gets him to Thunder Crash away. BigManTingz was trying to follow up, but it could only really catch Callus. iceicebaby back from respawn, going to farm up as the poke coming through, just whittling down the health bars of RivaL.
Team RivaL did a good job there of doing what mousesports did earlier. Now, it will open the door for the Pyromancer, so they don't lose nothing at all, but the ability to get mousesports to push their buttons and walk away was a really big deal. But in retrospect, BigManTingz, the only ultimate that was expended.
Fire Giant started up, and Wlfy's going to push out mid lane real quick, but he needs to get back to the Fire Giant soon. Deathwalker and Vote on the front lines looking to get in. Fire Giant at half health. Wlfy wrapping round to join the team as Big Man is still front line. Spudio's going to go up and come back down on the Fire Giant to commit for it. mousesports get the Fire Giant, but can they win the fight after the fact?
Really hot play there from Spudio. Goes up, uses his ultimate as a satellite. Cherryo might be in trouble, but if you lose one for that, I'm totally fine. I like, again, okay, sweet. Nice retreat, and I want to comment on Spudio. So he goes up, there's a call that there's a very low player. And
Which is
Spudio,
Vote.
Right. Spudio could chase down Vote, get the kill, and perhaps snowball the team fight, while Dardez is providing relevant damage onto the objective because he's another carry, just like a jungler would be. But instead, Spudio goes up, sees that all of the players in the conversation are way too far to actually respond to the Fire Giant, lands back down, provides double DPS, and takes down the FG. He could have gone for Vote, but that winds up most likely being a 2-for-1 at best. Cherryo already died, so it's a 2-for-2 with only one of your hunters having Fire Giant. The call to go up and immediately back down from Spudio was a really big boy play from a player that it does not have a lot of hours in the gym here in the Smite Pro League. He's normally an lower end player, so I like to see that because that to me says that mousesports are really doing a good job of nurturing Spudio, and he's learning a lot here in the big leagues.
Well, we're definitely entering the late game now between these two teams. Still towers remaining for both sides to look to take down. Only thing separating them realistically is the Fire Giant right now around Mouse's waist and that middle Phoenix being weakened for RivaL. To the right-hand side go Mouse, though, and meanwhile RivaL going to do their best impression of split push as well, and maybe a bit of a base race for a moment or two. Won't be a real one, I expect, but one day we'll get one.
We have had one. It was weak.
Not against Double Hunter, though.
Oh, no, that's true.
Don't think we'll see it against double. Tier 1 goes down on the left, Tier 1 goes down on the right. Tier 2 committed on. Meanwhile, iceicebaby's going to get a Tier 1 in the mid lane. This is some good global gold for RivaL, but you can see the basing starting to come through. Deathwalker's already back. Wlfy's on the way. Erlang's recalling too, but can Mouse commit in time with double hunters and take down the Phoenix before RivaL get back to reinforce?
All 5 players from RivaL are here
down.
in this general area. The right side Phoenix already taken. Deathwalker could be in a bad spot as
Oh, he
well.
is.
The elbow drop lines up for the Crypt Keeper, and Nika takes care of Deathwalker.
Wlfy Thunder crashes away back to the safety of his fountain. Keller surrounded by 4 members, but has support from iceicebaby.
boy play.
And Vote manages to help him out. Meanwhile, Cherryo on the front line. This sustain from the Nika's Baron is causing so many problems, but still Cherryo will fall on RivaL field. This is the turn on the gas pedal for a moment. Iceice and Wlfy going to give chase towards Nika.
Collis wins player of the team fight right there. Giant stun coming out from the support Fenrir. Looked really, really nice. Really good play from Collis. If Collis doesn't land that stun, Hinduman, I think the mousesports go on to take care of another 2 players and get all 3 Phoenixes.
Can we check an eye on healing done so far? Obviously after the team fight graphic, because that team fight shows how much damage was done. It was even between the 2 teams, but RivaL came out experience advantage because, well, they needed the farm more than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Mousesports just got themselves a fight jump, but I think healing is going to be a big telling point in this one. 4,500 healing actually for the Baron. Not as much as I expected, but I can see the sustain starting to pay dividends, and RivaL has anti-heal here too, which they've been building slowly but surely.
The Pestilence is a good look. The
Divine
Divine
Ruin.
Ruin also on
Toxic
top
Blade.
of it. And the Toxic Blade. Not an item we see all the time.
Goldfield is going to go to RivaL then. This will
Look
be a
at-
little bit gold.
Look at Bobo.
He did good. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. For
He
now.
actually, on this skin specifically, reminds me of Panther. A little pooch.
A little bit.
You know, just a...
He is a little bit. I was always hoping the British one would be like a that sort of dog. It'd be perfect.
That's a corgi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a giant corgi.
I'm not a big fan of corgis.
Eh.
Queen's dog and all. 14 to 14. Gold is ever so slightly in Mouse's state. This game is just bounced back and forth. Yeah, Mouse have got Phoenix's down, but I'm still not confident in winning still because I've seen RivaL do this a few times too.
Sure.
I just don't know if they've got it in them because Mouse are winning these team fights.
Well, here is where all of the armchair coaches and analysts, comp doesn't matter. The comp is now support Artio, solo Baron, Ullr mid.
It's okay. Dardez
jungle Ullr.
I'm excited.
or
Dardez
jungle-
is going a little bit more supportive. He's going to bring a bit more control to these team fights, Tom. with the next
Cherryo's the
plays.
support.
No,
Dardez is not.
no. Look at the control he's going to be bringing soon. Frostbound Hammer's on the way.
He gonna buy a room forge.
You reckon?
He gonna buy a room forge.
He going to do it to me? I guess he is. Fire Giant's going to be
He
the dance
gonna buy
again. I think it's all up to what RivaL can do here. If Mouse do the Fire Giant the same way, they should win this game. But BigManTingz in a bit of an awkward spot dealing with iceicebaby. Cherryo's there to help out, but Cherryo sees Wlfy and charges in. Callis immediately brings back the bear towards Wlfy. That gets the ultimate out of Wlfy, and that's a squandered 2 ults out of RivaL. Sure, sorry, make that 3. iceicebaby was consumed in that fight too. And mousesports happy that all theirs are still standing.
Something deceptive, though, that I caught myself on is the fact that, well, Cherryo or Dardez don't have ults. There's only 3 ults on mousesports, right?
That's true.
So you got to keep that one in mind.
It's a good
Cherryo
point.
right now
Good
going to be
ult.
hit on by Deathwalker. He's already at 40, and he could get lower.
No one committed to Cherryo other than Deathwalker, though, because iceicebaby went straight towards Spudio, forcing him back towards the tier 2. Teleport coming out from Nika to get back to the action as they were looking for the pick on BigManTingz, but not to be. Mousesports do a good job of spreading away and not getting picked apart or consuming some of their ultimates.
Textbook retreat right there from mousesports, and they're totally fine to go and stop this fire giant, and they will. The sprint is on. BMT on the top, getting pretty spicy. There's a big ultimate. 4-player knockup. Spudio on the back line. Vote in trouble.
All on Wlfy trying to pick him up, but the Desert Fury combines to pick up Cherryo. Tings can't get Vote as the blink away saves the day. iceicebaby keeps up Spudio, and RivaL go dip, dip, dip. We killed 2. This is good. The fire giant's still alive, and it's only, well, supportive cast remain.
BMT and Nika needed to be a little bit closer. Every other successful team fight from mousesports have included BigManTingz and Nika combining their abilities to take care of business in a large area of effect. It's not even like Nika had to be on the other side this time. No, they're able to control multiple players. The problem was Nika was on the southwest side of the team fight, where BigManTingz was all the way up north.
Okay.
And because they were separate, they weren't able to execute.
Here we go, Dardez. This is the chance to make this Ullr really shine here. It's him and Nika. They're going to have to contest this Fire Giant, but he's going to be too late to contest this. RivaL gets the Fire Giant. BigManTingz split pushed the left-hand side and took a tier 2. Mouse were not confident in trying to defend that.
Wrong choice. Wrong choice.
Do you think they should have poked?
Wrong choice. Absolutely, they should have poked. The wrong choice. I don't agree with that, and that could be them. I mean, throwing the game is being nice. I think they handed it to Team RivaL here with the Fire Giant. Mouse can play D, but we'll see.
Cherryo on the front line, going to get pulled in towards the whole team again, and Vote will get credit with the kill with the Desert Fury. Life of the party pulls in Deathwalker, but the Thorns allows him to continue pushing them back. Spudio's on the run as iceicebaby cleans up Nika. That's the magical damage down, says RivaL.
Here you go.
Let's get the tier 2 in the middle Phoenix.
Team RivaL making this one look easy at this point. 18-14. We've got a little bit of gold in their pockets as well. Mid lane Firebird being aggressed on, and I'm not sure they're even going to look for more after this.
I mean, Dardez, BigManTingz does have his ult, but Spudio just ulted early, and I think that's going to dissuade RivaL, who weren't going for it anyway, but now that's down. Could turn things around. Instead, RivaL going to play the safer option, take the final tier 2 on this right-hand side. They did use a lot of their ultimates to pick up Cherryo and Nika, which makes sense for them to slow down. And they still have plenty of time with this Fire Giant.
BigManTingz tossing his axe out there, just threatening the torrent inside of it. Kala's getting ripped up, and BMT in a great position. He's going to find the ultimate and hit all 3 players. Dardez, the jungle Ullr, takes care of business.
Hang on a second, is RivaL throwing 2? No, hold that thought, because Vote and iceicebaby say no. Cherryo gets picked up again as the Desert Fury from Vote goes towards Dardez, but he was tanking the Phoenix. It finally falls on the right-hand side. The middle one's down. Cherryo pinned in position again. Nika back in looking to clean up Kalas, but meanwhile Vote causing some problems, and Aegis is beautifully in place. The up-down from Vote is good. The pillar's even better to keep him alive. Dardez just can't thread that needle as Deathwalker picks up Cherryo.
Vote with a fantastic highlight reel play, uses his own pillar to just avoid the damage, gets himself out of combat, and then blinks away to safety. Well done, keeping his head in that situation. Dardez just could not find a way around it, and Team RivaL get over-aggressive. They wanted to play into their own hands, and mousesports play defense on the right side of the map.
This is definitely one of those games, by how it's looking now, that if RivaL do win, people are going to look at the scoreboard if they didn't get a chance to watch this game and go, well, that's what you expect. But Mouse managed to keep things even. They did a very good job of keeping things even, then took a lead for themselves, and at moments had this game in their grasp. But just a couple of decisions from them and a couple of good decisions from RivaL too have turned this on its head, and it shows how good RivaL really have become. They're always good at a deficit. They always hang in there, and now they've got the grasp of a win in their sights.
I mean, Mouse are playing a fantastic game as well. They really were able to control the mid game, and I think it was just lack of confidence. You know, when David plays Goliath, you are thinking about it. And mousesports right now going up against Team RivaL, I think that really stopped them from being as aggressive as I think mousesports perhaps should have been.
Yeah.
There's a number of times I lamented the most audibly over there on the Fire Giant. There have been a number of times where I think mousesports have made a mistake by not being aggressive. Check out this positioning now.
Well, they've only got one Phoenix left standing on the left-hand side, and iceicebaby going to swing around the back, get mezzed by Spudio. He did look for the ultimate there, Iceice, and he's going to get it on the second turnaround. Spudio, half-elfed already, has to be dash away. Left-hand Phoenix under threat as iceicebaby's being zoned away by Cherryo, but look at Cherryo!
Vote takes care of that one, and that's problematic. The Spudio in the sky right now, just circling. He's going to land back at base.
This could be game already. 3 Phoenixes down, 5 minions on the right, and the mid. And the Phoenix down the left. In come RivaL looking to end game 2. This, in my opinion, should have gone 3 games. But it's not to be. RivaL showing that they're in it to win it. Take down Mouse in 2 games, even though it wasn't as easy as all that.
Some poor decision making coming out from Mouse in the late game. Again, people are going to scoff at this composition at the end of the day, but I maintain the laning phase is a short situation. You got to look at the bigger conversation. And when it came down to it, team fight was all ready. I do have the same reservation about the magical damage that you do, but all in all, I don't think the composition was as crazy as it seems on paper.
I'll always sit there and say the good and the bad, but the difference is whatever wins. If they won that, I'll shut my mouth. But they didn't win that. Who do you guys think one MVP for that game, at least from RivaL's point of view. I think Callis had a very good game.
Callis had a fantastic game. I'm honestly looking at Wlfy. I think if Wlfy isn't playing the Raijin as strongly as he is in the late game, that mousesports are able to overcome their decision-making and actually take the victory. It was Wlfy's damage and dominance in the late game that brought it back for Team RivaL.
What a surprise. Magical damage helped him win it. Let's get into the desk to break down that game and that set.
Thanks, Hindu. Thanks, Tom. That is going to do it for Mouse. Unfortunately, couldn't quite topple a RivaL, who are going to be able to grab the set. Finch and Tolly here to tell you all a little bit more about what happened. And I guess I agree with them on paper that the comp's not weird, right? We see double hunters all the time. They had their Guardian, they had their Warrior, they had their Mage. They just put them in weird roles. So then that's the question, right? Does putting them in different roles really gain Mouse that much here?
It does, because honestly, if Deathwalker doesn't first blood Dardez in the first 30 seconds of the game, I think the Ullr Apollo combination destroys the Fenrir Anhur from RivaL. Now, keep in mind, that was a great execution from RivaL. The blink play from Vote to set up the stun, and also unfortunate that Dardez gets his first ability instead of the third, so he didn't have that jump to be able to get away.
Unfortunately, meant that Dardez had to take that early spill. And in all honesty, he was behind the whole game as a result of it. Really, he was, and that hurts you. You really are not drafting Ullr so late game he can become relevant, right? He didn't have that early game powerhouse that you really ended up wanting. And you talked about it right there, that Vote had a big impact. He had a big impact in the hearts and minds of those out there in Mixer land, as well as Vote was selected as your MVP on this Anhur.
He just loves the aggressive plays, the blink on her, something that he's done in the past before that sometimes he gets a little bit of too much scrutiny for, but I think today on the Anhur, playing lights out, even making a really great blink defensive play one time around the 30-minute mark, and Vote with a lot of damage this game. I gotta give it up to where credit is due on Vote's side.
Yeah, he had one play where the blink saved him, where the Chaac was ulting on him, and he blinked away right out beneath it between the tier 1, I think, and the jungle, able to sort of get back towards safety. But really, I mean, let's talk a little bit about where Mouse were in this game. They had that right side Phoenix, right? They had a couple opportunities where it looked like they were very close to being able to grab this, but RivaL kind of stayed close. Mouse never really had a big lead Golder XP-wise.
They definitely didn't have the Golder experience, but they made those great team fight counter pushes where RivaL got too ambitious under Mouse's tier 1 mid tower. They lost 2 members initially because Spudio came back into the action, dove the backline with the Apollo ultimate. It allowed the rest of Mouse to keep pushing forward off of those 2 picks, granting themselves the middle Phoenix.
And there was just a couple times in that mid game where I feel like RivaL kind of fed into this competition a little bit from Mouse, right? This was a scrappy competition, right? A Chaac in the mid lane, the double hunter duo lane. They definitely wanted to take some fights, and RivaL kind of did that with them, and I think that's what kind of gave some life to this Mouse comp. But, you know, sort of leaving Dardez as the least farm member on Ullr, I just don't know about that.
It wasn't that big of a deal, honestly. I think the team fights was still good for Mouse, especially when RivaL were getting too far ahead of themselves outside of that tier 1 tower
They did
push.
make some missteps.
When the Gold Fury was happening around 17-minute mark, Vote was way too far out of position. He actually even jumped in offensively onto Spudio, trying to last hit him, but Spudio was still able to back, come in with the ultimate, and get that counter deicide.
Yeah, Spudio had some nice impact on the Apollo. I actually kind of liked it in this composition, the way that it could come in on the backside of those. I did also want to ask you about Cherryo on the Artio as well. I felt like he was behind a lot of the game. He often was the one that was kind of at the front getting picked off as well. I don't know if they got enough out of the Artio jungle.
It's not like the Cabrakan jungle that he normally plays from time to time. It takes a little bit longer to get the damage out of Artio. It takes 5 ticks from the Druid third ability, you know, double swipes from the bear form, so it's not like that initial burst damage and get in and out. It's more about locking people down between the root, between the cripple, forcing some of these defensive relics, especially when Vote goes for Blink at level 1.
Yes.
Relying on his ultimate primarily for that CC immunity. Now he has to juggle between using it to escape versus using it for damage.
So Mouse had a lot of stuff going on in that game. Couldn't quite get it to all come together, and they did not end up finding a win up against RivaL. RivaL kind of riding the ship a little bit. Let's go ahead and see where both those teams ended up shaking up as a result in those actual standings. Mouse just 1 game ahead of SK down there near the bottom, but that win from RivaL was enough to tie them up there with energy. In fact, a little bit ahead, because it looked looks like they've gotten a few more 2-0s than Energy have, so that now puts them just a little bit above them in the standing. Remember, top 2 is where you want to be.
And that's really close between those two teams also because RivaL won that matchup 2-0. So even if their plus or minus are tied, it's going to go
That's a
down
good point.
to that head-to-head record. RivaL beating out Energy, losing to Obey in week 1, but then losing to Dignitas, but beating SK in week 2.
And that's why those losses I was talking about back in week 1 were so important, because that makes it even harder now for Energy to try and find those scenarios where they can climb into those top 2 situations, because they're essentially going to be losing the head-to-heads against the people they most need to compete up against. So a lot of work for those Energy boys if they want to be able to make it up to the top 2. And 2 teams that would like to claim those spots for themselves would be Dignitas and Obey, and that's who we're going up with next.